Dear students, dear guests, welcome to our joint seminar, Global Challenges to Development. This course is a partnership between the Global Awareness Education at the University of Tübingen in Germany, the State University of Maringá in Brazil, and the Nelson Mandela University in South Africa. In this course, we will alternate theoretical debates with the students' projects related to sustainability, education, creative industries, geopolitical instabilities, and health. We will have guests from different countries and contexts who will contribute with lectures to these topics. In both universities, the course is offered to students of different disciplines. In Tübingen as part of the Global Awareness Education in the Transdisciplinary Course Program, and at the State University of Maringá as a free extension course. The course organizers are Professor Mauricio Reinhardt and Professor Sarah Pichette from the State University of Maringá, Professor Ronen Nakwadi, Nelson Mandela University, and me, Casa Pérez da Silva, University of Tübingen. So today, we will hear a lecture on strategies for economic development, theory of new developmentalism and evidence from Brazil with Professor Gilberto Fraga. And I will invite my colleague, Sarah Pichette, to introduce our guest.
Okay, thank you, Glaucia. Gilberto Fraga holds a PhD in Applied Economics from the University of São Paulo, Brazil. He was visiting scholar at the University of Illinois in the USA between 2015 and 2016. Currently, he works as a professor in bachelor and master's degree in economics at the State University of Maringá, Brazil. His research interests are international economies and economic development. Gilberto, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And it's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Hello, everybody. First, I'd like to say good morning. In Brazil, it's morning. I don't know where you are, but good morning or good afternoon. Thank you for having me, and thank you for introducing me. Professor Sarah, Professor Mauricio, my colleagues here, and Professor Glaucia. I'd like to thank you so much for inviting me for this lecture. It's a great pleasure to participate in this course and talk about economic development based on Brazilian experience. So Brazil and Latin America have presented a long time and different perspectives, different policies seeking to promote a better level of economic growth and development as well. But this has demonstrated hard work for these countries. So it's a great opportunity to think and talk about this topic. I think we have some issues in these countries that are specific. Maybe if you are in a developed country, you are not thinking about some issues that we have here. I have summarized the presentation. First, we talk about economic development in Latin America and Brazil. It's a big picture. I will try to present some background to get the last decades. Strategy for economic development. Latin America, we have some pendulum between liberalism and new development. So I'll talk about 1990s years, last decade from last century, regarding neoliberal agenda in the press, seeking low inflation with common equality. So we have the last 2 decades in this century, trend to new developmentalism in Brazil specifically. So we have this in Latin America also. Some social programs as driving to less poverty. And then we have some kind of original or true new developmentalism from 2011, 2016, with high and low average economic growth. This is a summarize of my presentation for this talk. Here we have Brazil and South America, and this picture of public policy pendulum. Just to think about the my presentation, we can see it's a long time we try one side of this pendulum. Other, it's not state policies for many countries. It's a government policy. So it's depend on the incumbent. We aren't right or left. It's not political, but the way to view development, public policy to promote development, or more liberal. Other way, we have state more present in the economy, more try to promote development, and more present in the people's lives. It's like a big guidelines. So Latin America and Brazil, since the second World War, we try industrialization within the process of industrialization by import substitution, and it's from 50s last century to 1980s. This almost 4 years, 4 decades, we try to promote development with a big state, it's a big government, with public companies and state doing investment and promote some public policy, but main try to promote economic growth with the idea that if you have economic growth, it's like a big cake. So after we can share this cake to everybody. And this happened in Latin America and Brazil as well. We have a great economist, Argentina, called one Brazilian called Celso Furtado, and another Argentinian economist, Raul Prebisch. So their ideas was we should seek industrialization, so we will have a better employment and a better growth, better standard life for people from this industrialization. Because these countries always supply for the world some commodities, foods and mineral commodities, and importation, all kind of industrialized products. And the idea after Second World War is promote this industry in American and Brazil as well. So in 1980s, we can check that these countries, after 30 years, keeping low growth rates, and the standard of life doesn't improve. We have high inequality. This cake maybe has grown, but it's not for everybody. We have observed some groups that maybe kept the biggest slice of this cake. Most part of the people have a low income and live many inequality with their kids doesn't have too much opportunity at school with college. Then in the 1980s appear some suggestions for these countries seeking development through some new ideas called, some author called Washington Consensus. And the Washington Consensus is a set of economic policies and rules with the engagement of some big think tanks like COMOP and also IMF, the National Monetary Fund, and World Bank, with this some kind of endorsement, this policy, because these countries doesn't have a high economic rates, economic growth rates, and this consensus told this to this government. So you must do some policies more serious. You must seek stabilize the economy, mainly the macroeconomic policy, to control a big problem, big issues that we have here in most of these countries in South America. That was inflation, high rate of inflation. And the Washington Consensus appeared with the debt crisis also in the development world during these 1980s, mainly in Latin America and Brazil. We are going to see a picture that I did with this last 30 years of inflation rate, and I can see it's a big problem. So inflation, it's terrible for everybody, but for poor people, it's worse, because we have some kind of everyday price change, and this people with low income have more difficulty to manage this situation. These are some items. It's a consensus, Washington Consensus. I try to summarize and some topics. These we have fiscal discipline, attack on inflation, public expenditures, tax reform, financial liberalization, market interest rates, it's pro-market, openness to foreign investment. It's more friendly to foreign investment because these countries, until today, we don't have some domestic investment enough for promote economic growth and development, and also we have some studies from World Bank and IMF, for example, that indicate the for importance of foreign investment to the of some productive sectors, not necessarily for investment, for capital markets. It's for companies, for new factors and others. But for attractive for investment, you need to do some policies like this one from Washington Consensus. Another is privatization, because during the last decades, states have grew too much. For example, in 1970, we created more than 200 public companies. So we had many public companies, and these companies sometimes it's a kind of wage for society, because the way some companies was managed doesn't work very well. It's the Washington Consensus perspective. Declining tariff, it's promoting international trade, because before these countries was more close to foreign trade, try to promote your own industry. These countries try to substitute importation for domestic products and don't look too much for export or for growth-led export, because we need to supply for domestic markets. And this consensus told us you should reduce the tariffs from international trade and promote more integrate to the rest of the world. Also, do better security for property rights. It's a condition to attract for investment also, because companies invest here, they look to how the security is this investment or property rights and others. So these items are summarized of the idea from Washington Consensus. It's just a recommendation for these countries. It's low development country or underdevelopment, and these countries, all countries, South America, was presented some difficult to solve the problems with macroeconomic stability, and so to try generate better welfare for the people. Then with this background, we can see just for the first time in the Brazilian case, the GDP growth and our rates. We back this picture again in the future, but so just look in last 3 decades. 90s, we have a neoliberalism policy to development, and this first decade, it's based on consensus Washington, basically, right? Then we have new century and shift the policy perspective and shift in the political orientation also, and we immigrate to new developmentalism. And then we have two phases of new developmentalism. And then here we can have a general overview on the results in terms of GDP growth. we know this. It's a very simple picture because it's just one variable, and this variable it's not good representation of development economics. It's just growth. But if you don't grow, if you don't have GDP growth, it's more difficult also, right? And here we can see the shape of this growth in these last 30 years. We have some high rates and something that's negative. It's not good. It's maybe it's better we have. It's not too high, but it's a constant economic growth. It's better than high and low, high and low. It's not a good idea. With this shape, let's talk about some specific moment in the time. In the 90s, we have the framework of neoliberal policies with the support of Washington Consensus, and we had in government these years, all these years to 2002, policymakers that agree with this framework. I'm not sure, but maybe because the big problem from Brazil, for example, was the try to control the inflation. It was the main target in the beginning, because inflation it was a big problem. We can see the next picture. And this for these targets, control inflation, mainly with macroeconomic, with a plan called real plan. That is our plan until today. Yeah, and real plan is a very complex plan in the beginning, because we have been complex scenario from impeachment of a government in 99 year, Governor Fernando Collor, and try to control public spends also. It's a big issue, because if you need try to control the spends, public spends, we need to cut some public policy like school or less money to health, and these development countries public health system is important for standard life of people. And also in this decade we had resisted many privatization, government many public companies, and brought some revenue for government, and also opened the economy. It was a external shock for the domestic economy, Brazilian economy. It has two sides. One side is became the market more competitive. We had in the medium and long run better products, cheaper than we had before here, more validity. But on the other hand, we have some companies that close, some companies can't compare with the foreign companies, multinationals. So with all these things, it's not a theory model, but it's all the background from Consensus Washington is the main ideas behind these policies. As a result, we stabilization in the economy, and we can grow now because these policymakers they saw if we have economy stable, we have the condition to economic growth, and so we can do other policies public policies to reduce the poverty or inequality and others. This is also the main focus. We have here the inflation tax very, very high. I think for some students here, you don't imagine what does it mean. But it's very hard. It's a hard time for people living this period of time. So the main word this policymaker in that time was that we need to control this dragon inflation. So we have the real plan here in 1994. The inflation dropped, and then we have some compared with the background. We have a low inflation rates and keep this. We shift the government orientation, and this new government with new party keep this policy for stabilization and others. I think with some look for new things, but they work with the stabilization because it's good for investment, and investment is good for economic growth. If you have economic growth, if you have income, you can do other policies. If you don't have stable economy, it's more difficult to do other policies, because if you have economic growth, you can get taxes, more revenue tax, more policy can do. So we have this plan in 1994, then stabilization of the inflation. This 1994 to 1999, it was not simple to keep inflation on the bottom. We can see another relevant, important public policy to improve the living standard, because we have too many pressure for external scenario, and some kinds of pressure inside in Brazil and Latin America. Because if you have a problem with the neighborhood, it can influence here, because people can think, oh, it's again inflations, where give up the control from inflation. With this first part of this dash line here, it's the main focus on inflation targets, and by late 1990s, it was become clear that the result of Washington consensus were far from optimal. Increasing criticism that changing approach that shift the focus away from view of development as a simple economic growth, and towards poverty reduction and the need of participation by development countries' governments. Government should do something more for people than just look for macroeconomic stabilization. So neoliberal policies was shifting to developmentalism. we before consensus, Washington consensus, we had some kind of old developmentalism, state developmentalism, but after 30 years, that one doesn't work enough. We have some crises. So we have some crises in developed countries, also like the United States in the beginning of 1980s. Washington consensus appeared like some solution. In that moment, we it doesn't have we don't have something better. So I think it's that time was we need to control the inflation. It's a big issue. In the beginning of the next century, 2000 years, 2002, for example, the end of neoliberal policies, which FHC, so President Cardoso, two terms here in Brazil. And now we have a shift for another side of the pendulum. The pendulum shift from these neoliberal policies, to some kind of more for development and Sakai to look for improve the standard life of people with low income and people that doesn't have opportunity before this period of stabilization. The development with stability. Before we have stability, and after seek for development. And here we have development and stability in the second plan. But they don't. They keep the eyes on stability, macroeconomic. But first, let's look for development. So I try to get a picture to summarize the idea of this new developmentalism. That in Brazil we spend some time to make this work. It's not the beginning of the Labour Party, for example, in 2003. In the beginning, they try to look and to keep the market calm, to keep the stabilization and realize that stabilization was important, and then we look for development. And this we can, the main targets of growth. So the macroeconomics policies is here, the right side, the monetary policy, fiscal policy, exchange rate policy, all these with targets on economic growth and poverty. So financial policies also, we must use these policies and to create more opportunities for people and reduce the poverty and create more employment and reduce unemployment rates. And that is. So we can solve, we shift to the other side of the this development is stability. It's a new framework, and so in this moment, our country has have more luck because international scenario was benefit. We had also in that moment, or I don't know today, but that moment, it's a kind of China bonus, because that means we all production of commodities that Brazil has, China buy all commodities, and so the price of commodities was so high until 2011. And this, we have one side, a big buyer, so China. On the other hand, we have a good price, so I can sell too much with a very good price. It's a good deal. And also, at the same time, I have China supply many industrialized products cheaper than we have in South America, that we have, I think, all the world. So this kind of products, this is good. I don't know if it's good, it's a proper way to say, but we have a new kind of middle class, middle income class in Brazil and in other Latin American countries. These people left the poverty, and they could consume more goods. So the importation many products from China. So it's a good scenario because I have a big country buying my products with high price and sell me many products with cheaper than I would produce. This work as a wealth effect for family, because we implement the Labour Party implements the cash transfer program called Bolsa Família. It was a very successful public program aimed to reduce the poverty and to become better the life to millions of people. It's around between 34 million of people with this cash transfer program. And these people can buy many products from China that before it wasn't possible. So if high expensive product from Brazil, I think cash transfer program is not the same effect. So the government, let's talk about the Bolsa Família, just a few minutes. The Bolsa Família, I think it's a very designed program. We have in other countries like Mexico, for example. But this, it's a conditional program because poor people with very low income, they need, for example, keep the kids in the school. They should look for family health program. So with this program, it's a cash transfer, but we have another spillover for the life quality of the people. Here, the left side, we have cash transfer to improve the household income, but we have many others effect spillover in this way. And finally, we have a better nutritional status, mainly to kids, health, and we have many studies that show us child mortality was reduced. It's a very important program. So it's not expensive program. Do it like a public policy, and we have a big effect. And all these people can benefit because with this, Brazil has this time more economic growth. That means more opportunity. more employment. And then we have cheaper products and inflation under control. So it's a very good time for Brazilian people and also from our neighborhood. See, here we can saw the poverty. Just to look at how we have some missing some days we don't have data sets and the World Bank, but just look for the reduction in the poverty gap. It's started in 1990s, but we can saw that it's keep strongly in this century. So we have it's a problem in developing country, but we have tried to reduce this over these last 30 years. Also, it's a kind of, if we put the pendulum here, we have one side and other side, the poverty reduce. I think it's almost important here. So the last decade, it's to find my time here. Brazil in 2010, we have I think it's the high recommendation of new developmentalism. So this new developmentalism, it's a kind of if you use, you should use some moderate way, because it's have some, if you use not moderate, it's have some side effects. So side effects we can see, because we come from the sky to the floor and it's very fast in this last decade here. In this decade we start with high public policy to industry. Again, something that we saw the 50 years ago, and this to force mandatory industry, some industry of cars, for example, use local inputs. If we have global value, so what very integrated with cheaper way to produce, and we did a more close policy, more we focus on Brazilian economy, and so this sector of cars, for example, but we have others. They have some tax advantage. I think if it tax advantage, it was for overall for all sector. Maybe it's okay to reduce tax. It's good because maybe products could be cheaper. But it's for focus to some sectors, and I don't know if it was the right sectors. We have a big discussion here in Brazil about this until now, if that about that choice to industrial policy. Then we use a BNDES, it's a national bank, to create with a low long-term interest rate, to create a global players. It's also in sector we don't know if it's a right sector. The public spend increase and the current growth rate is slow down, and then recession come to Brazil, and we have again here we have this the green part of the picture. We have in 2050 and 60 recession. So here we have final Labour Party in the power, and we shift for the another perspective. It's 2 years, 2000, the rest of 2006 and 2007, 8. It's something from neoliberalism, but with keep the development policies, mainly Bolsa Família, for example. And then the rest of this decade, we try to recover the capacity of growth and create opportunities for development economic. But these are because these are how I saw I told we come from sailing into the floor sky, 7% of economic growth to -3. It's not good. It's an inequality to finish. It's an inequality picture. We can see three moments of the time. Here we have this blue colors, it's 99 years. We have inequality index, Gini. I don't know, but I think many people know about it because it's inequality measure used in many areas. So we don't have a strong reduce, but we can see to the beginning of this century with these policies and this good scenario, foreign scenario, and the China effect also, and some cash transfer and other policies and opportunities. We can saw that this dash line, orange dash line, the reducing inequality. It's very good moment in Brazil. But pleased in the last decade, and this gray line, we can saw this. It's stopped to decline inequality. So we have some moments that decline, but and others we have here we have the same. It's 2019. We have the almost the same in the end of the first decade in the century. So it's the final because here we are speaking about strategy for development. I saw we don't have many strategies. It's up one time we were one side or other side, always asking for try to better development. And the challenge to finish, I think it's education keep like a big challenge for these development countries, South America mainly, and other parts of the world, because the loss of the kids, with the COVID, for example, the COVID, we have rise of the poverty, investment in science. It's we have a decline in Brazil, for example, and others, a country like Argentina, and so keep the economic stability to attract more investment to create opportunity for the people. So thank you so much. That's all, Professor Graça.